Good morning, everybody. I'm back today with a recap of meeting Neil Gaiman on Monday night, and I also wanted to review his newest novel, The Ocean at the End of the Lane. So it was charming and wonderful and fabulous meeting Neil Gaiman. He is humorous, he is gracious, he is warm and inviting. And I felt that way, and there were 1,500 people at his signing. It was really, really overwhelming. So I've written up a whole big recap post on my blog. I will link that in the description so that you can take a look if you're interested. There are some pictures and all that good stuff. We were very fortunate that we had second row seats, so we were in and out pretty quickly, even though the signing actually went on until about 2:30 in the morning. Unbelievable that anyone, author or otherwise, would sign for that long. So really, really, really impressed. Had a great time meeting Neil Gaiman. So that was on Monday. And on Tuesday, I spent the bulk of my day. Well, really not the bulk of my day. This is a tiny book. A couple of hours of my day reading The Ocean at the End of the Lane. And I should preface this review by saying that I am not a die-hard Neil Gaiman fan. I am a huge fan of the man, but his work is hit and miss for me, truthfully. The first Neil Gaiman book that I read was many, many years ago. It was American Gods, and I was thrilled with the premise, but I really didn't care for the execution. I actually found that book to be a huge slog, and I did finish it, but I didn't care for it. I also read the first in the Sandman series, Preludes and Nocturnes, and again, felt like it was okay, but maybe it just wasn't for me. Like, I didn't get that rush of appreciation that I feel like has garnered Neil Gaiman a huge cult following. So that one was a miss as well. However, when I read some of his work for younger readers, Coraline, The Graveyard Book in particular, I was really taken. I really started to feel that magic in his writing and how involving it can be. So I was a little bit nervous about The Ocean at the End of the Lane because it is an adult book, but the premise sounded a little bit like it would have that same magical quality that I'd appreciated in some of his books for younger readers. And I was correct. Just to give you a little bit of a plot synopsis, it is about a man in his 40s who comes back to his home. And to say that is a little bit misleading. His home is long gone. He lived on a lane with other farms and houses and things. And the house at the end of the lane belongs to the Hempstock women. And if that name sounds familiar, it's probably because Eliza Hempstock was the witch who was buried in the Potter's Field in The Graveyard Book. And this is a story about old Mrs. Hempstock, Jenny Hempstock, and Letty Hempstock, the grandmother, the mother, and the daughter. And they all befriend our protagonist. Now, he is in his 40s. He is reflecting on his life as a 7-year-old because that is when the action of this book took place. He's looking back on it. And I don't want to give away too much, but I will tell you some things that are not spoilers. This is spoiler-free. I would not do that to you. There is an incident. An opal miner who is lodging with his family commits suicide in the family's car at the end of the lane. And that act sets off a domino effect of other sort of mystical, terrifying, actually, events that this 7-year-old must navigate to get through this book. And, you know, I gotta tell you, child narrators or child protagonists really have my heart because I automatically think of my son when I'm, you know, kind of following them along through a story. So that was great. That really worked for me. I also loved the Hempstock women. They are steeped in mystery and magic. It is made very clear that they are not witches. There's something much older and much bigger and much more primal kind of moving through the story that powers them. And it was so great. It was so immersive, and it was so complicated and nuanced. And again, I'm always really, really impressed with authors who can put that kind of detail and that kind of nuance and, you know, those small little details that really make for a complicated story when they can do that in such a small space. That to me is incredibly impressive. It speaks to an author's ability. So this book is now most definitely my favorite Neil Gaiman book. I don't know if it would be the best place to start for someone who is new to Neil Gaiman's work. But I don't know. It's not a bad place to start either. It's really, really good. I really enjoyed it. And I will show you very briefly the inscription on the book to Andy and David. And he wrote or drew a nice little picture and signed it Neil Gaiman. So it was really exciting. I would also like to recommend that you check out a post that is linked in the description, and it is a blog post that Neil Gaiman's wife, Amanda Palmer, wrote. And she is a musician from Australia, I believe, and she kind of admits straight off in her blog review, and it's a different kind of review, it's a review of the book and of their marriage. She admits she's not read everything that he's written, so I kind of feel like she and I are in the same camp. But, you know, she goes into the ways that this book is the most personal that he has written, and it is her favorite because it is the most personal thing that he's written. They were going through a rough spot in their marriage when this book kind of came to fruition, and it is a really, really insightful post into their lives together. It is a really insightful post into their lives as individuals and their creation of art, and will really shed kind of some new light and some new meaning on this book if you choose to undertake it. So I do recommend that you read that blog post. No spoilers or anything in it, and it really gave me an interesting insight into this book as I read it. So this is one of the best books I've read so far for the 30-day reading challenge. I'm really excited. It's actually the first book that I've read in its entirety in one day, with the exception of 12 pages. So I'm almost sure I recapped 12 pages when I was done reading. So we're going to say that I read all of this exactly in one day. So yeah, that's all I really have to share with you guys today. This is seriously a great book. It made me do the ugly cry. It totally involved me. It was magical. It was warm. It was scary. It was quite a thrill ride, I have to say. So The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman, definitely one to pick up as soon as you have an opportunity. Hope you all are having a great reading week. Sorry to stumble over that bit, and I will see you soon.